Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning in today for a little springtime practice. So spring has sprung. In Arizona, I like to joke we get about 1 week of it, right? From the cold winter weather that we had a week ago to, I don't know, this Saturday, it's supposed to be like 96. Yikes, not quite ready for it, but this is our week of spring. So we're gonna get right to it. Our practice today is all about removing the weeds. All right. So go ahead, and I'm going to stay seated, but go ahead and get yourself reclined down on your back. I'm not going to specifically use any props today, but as always, if you have yoga blocks, you might like to have those nearby. Okay, or any other things that you like. If you like blanket under your knees, grab that. But go ahead and roll down, lie down on your back. You can take Shavasana if you like, so extending the legs out, arms by your sides. You could alternatively bend the knees, have the feet on the floor, and let the knees tent together. Just allow yourself to get comfortable for our opening today. Let's take a full deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, sigh it out. And take another full deep breath in. Sigh it out and let go. Just letting go of anything that doesn't serve you right now. Let it go. Allow your body to sink more heavily to the earth, the legs, the hips, the spine. The bones are heavy, feel grounded. Can you tune in to the places where your body connects to the earth, connects to your mat? And then please tune into any other physical sensations that you might feel in your body this morning. Whether it's tension, tightness, holding, maybe openness. And then dropping in a little bit deeper, notice any lingering emotions this morning. Not judging anything we discover, just being open to discover, being curious. And then allow your awareness to drop in even a little deeper. Notice the thoughts. Notice the thoughts this morning. Maybe there's a particular pattern of thought or a repetitive thought. Again, no judgment of what we discover, just discovering. Let your awareness just simply rest with the breath. Just watching the breath as it moves in and moves out. And I want to share a poem this morning. It kind of sets the tone for our practice today. And it's called Let It Go. Let go of the ways you thought life would unfold. The holding of plans or dreams or expectations. Let it all go. Save your strength to swim with the tide. The choice to fight what is here before you now will only result in struggle, fear, and desperate attempts to flee from the very energy you long for. Let go. Let it all go and flow with grace that washes through your days, whether you receive it gently or with all your quills raised to defend against invaders. Take this on faith. The mind may never find the explanations that it seeks, but you will move forward nonetheless. Let go, and the wave's crest will carry you to unknown shores, beyond your wildest dreams and expectations. Let it all go and find the place of rest and peace and certain transformation. So as you think about what your intention for your practice is today, then also just for a moment, set the intention to let go of all of those things one by one that don't serve your intention. Okay, maybe your intention is to be more joyful or to have more abundance in life. What are you hanging on to mentally, emotionally, physically that doesn't serve that intention, that doesn't support it? Let it all go. As we move through our practice today, we will be opening the hips physically. And sometimes that can invite emotions to kind of flow. So today it's time to face them and just remove toxic emotions in the mind, letting go of those things that no longer serve you. You could think of those thoughts, those patterns, like weeds in your garden. Right? If you nurture the weeds and allow them to flourish, that's what you get, a garden of weeds. The things that you wish and you intend to grow won't have the nutrients, won't get the sun, right? Our mind is a lot the same way. What you think, you become. So be mindful of the thoughts, the emotions that come. And if it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't support you, today, set the intention to let that go. Another little quote that I've used in the past is another example of this for our practice today. Your mind is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers, or you can grow weeds. Now, you can't water the weeds and expect a flower to grow. Let's take a deep inhale here and exhale completely. Another full deep breath in. Take the arms and stretch them overhead, stretch the legs in opposite directions, just waking up the body. And then lower the arms down by your sides. Bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. And we'll take a reclined pigeon or eye of the needle, figure 4, right? Pick up your right foot, cross right ankle over the left knee, just above it. Flex the right foot to protect the knee joint here. Some of you might already be feeling sensation in the outer hip. If you are, feel free to stay right here. or even maybe elevate the left foot a bit. Or you could pick up the left leg and interlace hands behind the thigh. Looking to find some nice aha sensation in the outer right hip and thigh. So feel free to maybe shift a bit on the hips to the left or to the right an inch or two. Sometimes that can help you really tune into that sweet spot. Breathing into and through any sensations. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Two more deep breaths. And then slowly releasing the side. If you lifted the left leg, lower it back down, uncross. And then picking up the left foot, left ankle over the right knee. Deciding if the right foot stays on the floor, maybe you elevate it on a block, or maybe you pick the right leg up and interlace hands behind the thigh. Finding that sweet spot in the outer left hip now. Notice where you're holding tension in these hips. Hips are a huge storage deposit in our body for tension, for stress. We often think only about the stress we hold in the shoulders. I think that's because, I don't know, shoulders are closer to the head, so it's closer to our awareness. I'm not sure why, but sometimes it's the hips that, or oftentimes it's the hips that hold more. It's a larger joint, a larger area. Today we're releasing the issues in our tissues. They don't call them saddlebags for nothing. We're emptying out, letting go. We'll take a few breaths more here. And on an inhale, release and uncross. Bring both knees up toward the chest. We'll take happy baby now. So as the knees come in, then let the knees move wide apart, still drawing the thighs toward the floor outside the ribs. You can reach in between the knees and either catch the ankles, so soles of the feet come together, one variation, or grab outer edges of the feet and take soles of the feet toward the ceiling. And be mindful if you've rolled into the middle of your back. Do try to let the hips be a little bit heavier here. Feeling grounded and stable. Breathing space into that big hip joint. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. And please release the feet or whatever you've caught onto, both knees in toward the chest now. And you can take hands on the knees, maybe rock a bit side to side, tuning into the broadness in the back of your hips, sacrum. And yogi's choice, either roll to your side to come up to sit, or if it's okay for your spine, you could rock forward and back a few times for a little spinal massage. And then eventually finding your way all the way up to sit. And as you come up to sit, sit tall. Enjoying the hands in Anjali Mudra, palm against palm. And take a moment here, remind yourself of your intention. And maybe you have set an intention, or maybe we're just setting the intention to let go today. Let go of the things that we're holding on to that are weighing us down. And release the hands to the thighs, turning the palms up in a gesture of receptivity and openness. Eyes closed. We'll take a few minutes for pranayama or breath practice. And we'll do Durga breath or 3-part breath. So this is inhaling from bottom to top and exhaling from top to bottom, kind of like you're splitting the breath into 3 parts. So let's all begin together by exhaling completely to clear the breath. And as we inhale, inhale belly, then ribs, and then chest. And then exhale chest, ribs, and belly. Inhaling bottom to top, belly, ribs, chest. And exhale chest, ribs, and belly. And let's take 5 more just like this, please. All of your awareness is on the breath. 2 more cycles, please. Inhaling bottom to top and exhaling top to bottom. Return to normal breathing. Just allow your body to find its own rhythm, turning the palms down now. So palms are down on the knees. And we'll take some hip circles here. So imagine the bowl of the pelvis, just turning and twisting. And we're tilting the tailbone forward, out to the right, behind you to the left, forward to the right, behind to the left. Let's go one more time this direction. So it's not a very big movement. And then we'll go the other direction, or circling to the left. Warming up the hips a little bit more, the abdominals. Good. Beautiful. Returning to center on an inhale. Draw the hands back against the knees as you move the heart, the chest forward. Open the heart. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone round the spine, chin to the chest like a cat. So think seated cat and cow here. Inhale, hands draw back as the heart draws forward, lift the chest, maybe even turn your gaze to look up. And as you exhale, round. Maybe even closing your eyes to do this allows you to better tune in. You can really feel what the body's feeling. Take one more, please. And then inhale up nice and tall. Take your right hand out to the side, planting it on the floor in line with the hip, and left arm reaches up to the sky. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lateral bend over to the right, stretching the left side body, the left side waist. And we'll inhale, bring yourself all the way upright, and we'll go to the other side. Left hand down in line with the hip, and the right arm reaches up and over. Inhale back upright. Let's go 2 more times, flowing side to side. Inhale up, moving back over to the left. And up. Last time to the right. Now let's inhale. Let's now twist to the right. So left hand to the right thigh, right hand behind. Inhale, come to center. Watch the arms rise up overhead and then twisting to your left. Inhale, raise up. Arms lift, spine lifts, heart lifts. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, twisting left. One more time, each direction. Using movement dynamically with the breath to find more openness in the body. Inhale all the way back up to center, and then exhale, lower the arms down out in front of you. You can walk the arms forward. And feel free to wriggle around a little bit here if you like. Maybe shimmy the hips, the ribs a bit side to side. Just finding all of those little tight spots and tight areas in the body and releasing whatever you're holding there. Use the hands, walk yourself all the way back in and bring yourself upright. And now let's flip over onto hands and knees. As you come onto hands and knees, spread those fingers out wide. Hands are right underneath the shoulders here. And as we take an inhale, without moving them, drag the heel of the hands back. Feel how the heart moves forward, chest is open, tailbone lifts. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone, push the floor away and round like a cat. Good. Inhale, cow pose, belly drops, heart moves forward as you draw the hands back. And then exhale, round. Good. Inhale. Exhale, push the floor away. We'll take 2 more breaths this way. Last one. Inhale to neutral spine, so the back's neither arched nor rounded. Gaze is just slightly out in front. Take your right hip, send your right hip to the right, and then back, and then to the left. So circling the hips, moving nice and slow to the right first. So right, and then back, and then left. Good. 3 more this direction. Right, back, and left. And 2 more circles. And 1. So meeting back in the center, and then we go the other way. We'll go to the left, back, and then to the right. So circling left, 5 circles all together. So we've got 3 more. And 2. And last one. Beautiful. Take the hips back to the heels, child's pose with the arms extending forward. If the forehead comes to the floor, great. If it doesn't, you can certainly keep the head lifted, but doing your best to really nestle those hips back to the heels. Beautiful. On inhale, come up onto hands and knees and take cow pose. So belly drops, chest open, and then exhale, press back to child's pose. Good, let's move through there again. Inhale, glide forward to cow pose. Exhale, tuck the tailbone and round back. Child's pose. Good. From child's pose now, grab the hands. Take your arms and move the hands back by your feet, or you could alternatively stack the hands at the low back. Now, as you inhale, rise all the way up onto high knees. Reach the fingertips toward the ceiling. Stretch high. As you exhale, hips back to the heels, child's pose with the arms extending forward, so bowing down. Now inhale, forward cow pose, just combining all four of those movements. And then exhale back to child's pose, sliding, gliding the hands back toward the feet or to the low back. And again, we'll repeat that. Inhale, rise up to kneeling with the arms stretching up overhead. Exhale, bow, hips go back, heart forward. Inhale, gliding forward to all fours to cow pose. And then exhaling back, child's pose, hands slide back by the feet or to the low back. Great, let's do 3 more all together. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, child's pose, hands slide back. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, bow. Inhale, cow. Exhale, child's pose, hands slide back. Good, once more, all the way through. Inhale up. Exhale, bow. Inhale to all fours in cow pose. And exhale back to child's pose. Stay here and pause. You can keep the hands back by the feet if you like, or if the forehead doesn't comfortably come to the floor, stack the hands or stack fists. Just let the forehead rest. A couple breaths just to tune in. And let's bring yourself all the way back up onto all fours now. Take your right foot and step your right foot forward. So we'll take a kneeling lunge, right foot forward as the hips drop forward. So take a moment, adjust yourself so your front knee is over the ankle. And then as you drop the hips forward, we're finding some stretch across the front of your left thigh somewhere. All right, hands start on either side of the front foot. Lengthen the spine, look forward here. Get active in the legs. So you're pushing the right foot down, the left shin down, and then scissor them together. So we're finding some action and activity through the legs. So we'll take one more inhale here. And then as you exhale, still legs active, but shift your hips back, lengthening the right leg out in front of you. Yeah, let's go a few more times. We'll just move back and forth. Inhale forward for a kneeling lunge, and then exhale, shifting back for our half splits. Good. Inhale forward, look forward. Exhale back. 2 more. Flowing movement with breath. Last one, inhale, stay forward. So stay in this forward position, allowing the hips to drop forward and down. Keep the spine lengthening, the heart lifting. Releasing the issues in your tissues. And let's exhale, shift the hips back, lengthening that right leg out. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Yogi's choice, you can keep the right foot extended so sole of the foot's on the floor, or flex the foot, drawing those toes towards you can give you a little bit deeper stretch in the back of the right leg. And we'll inhale, shift forward again, and then switch sides. Right leg will go back and the left one will come forward. So find positioning first. Foot walks forward far enough so that when the hips drop forward, we're feeling the stretch somewhere along the front of your right leg or hip. Right? Doesn't mean that's the only place you'll feel it. Some of you might feel it on this front leg, the forward leg as well. And then the spine is long. Inhale, legs are active. And as you exhale, shift the hips back, lengthening the left leg out in front of you. So shifting to stretching the back of the front leg. And a few times moving back and forth. Inhale, exhale. Good. Inhale, exhale. And 3. 2. And 1. Hold it here. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Hips dropping forward, legs still active. Lengthen the spine, lift the heart. And then shift the hips back, lengthening the left leg out in front of you, staying here for a few breaths. Remember, keep the sole of the foot on the floor or flex the foot for a little deeper stretch or more stretch toward the lower part of the leg. And let's inhale, shift forward, take the left leg, step it back, big toes together, and widen the knees as far apart as is comfortable for you. So a really wide knee child's pose. Send the hips back to the heels, and we'll pause here again for a few breaths. Breathing into any sensation or tightness that you feel. See if you can use the breath to help release the gripping, the tightening, the holding. Use the breath to let go. 1 breath more here. Using the strength of your arms, lift the chest up, bring the knees back into their more hips distance apart, and come up onto hands and knees. All right, so we're coming back up to hands and knees. Now walk both hands forward. So a good handprint or 2. The arms will be extended way out in front of you. Now drop the chest down for Anahatanasana or melting heart pose. So heart drops down, arms stay extended. Maybe the forehead comes to the floor. And do your best for the next few breaths while we're here. Keep your hips stacked over your knees. Then we also get a nice release, decompression in the spine. So no tension, no strain in the neck. Forehead is just softly resting. And walk the hands back under your shoulders and press yourself back up onto all fours. Good. From all fours, take your right forearm and bring it down right between the space where your 2 hands just were, right? So the forearm is underneath the shoulders. Take just the left arm now and extend it out in front of you. Stay on the fingertips. So we're cupping the ground, cupping the mat with your left hand.
keeping the arm fully extended. Now, once more, drop the chest toward the floor. This time, forehead can rest on the forearm. And then stay on those fingertips of the left arm. Walk the left arm a little farther forward, make more space. And can you, it's going to kind of sound like a weird request, but can you hollow out the armpit, right? Instead of just letting that underarm area drop down, think about hollowing it out. Let's see if you can tune in and find that. So it's kind of like drawing your shoulder away from your left ear. Let's place that left hand back underneath the shoulder. Press yourself back up to all fours, and we'll do that on side two. So the left forearm comes down right underneath the chest, the shoulders. The right arm extends forward on the fingertips as you drop the chest down and back. Right fingertips grip the mat, maybe walk a little farther forward. Right shoulder is drawing away from the right ear, so you get that hollowed out feeling or sensation in the armpit. Last breath here. And then we bring the right hand underneath the shoulder. Press yourself all the way back up onto all fours. And please take your right foot and step it forward again. Right foot forward, but this time walk your right foot far out to the right so that both hands are inside the knee. So right foot all the way out to the right. Even as an option, you could walk the right foot forward so it's out in front of the knee slightly. So this will be called either lizard or gecko, right? It's more gecko-ish if the foot is out in front of the knee, because then we're also getting a deeper stretch to the hamstring, the back of the right thigh. All the while, we're getting the inner thigh and groin and probably still some of the front of the left hip. Settle in here, few breaths. Either stay supported on the hands. If you have yoga blocks, this is a great place to bring them in so that you can rest forearms down and get off the wrists. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly coming back up onto the hands. If you're using the blocks, you can set them off to the side. And we'll take the left hand down. So we're going to stay in the variation with the legs-ish. Left hand's down under the shoulder. Again, you could keep that forearm down in the block. And we'll take this now and turn into a twist. So twisting torso toward the right. So I've got my right hand up on top of the knee, so I can use that as a little extra leverage for the twist. It's like we're doing some spring cleaning, some weeding out of the garden in the hips, right? That big storage depot. Beautiful. Let's untwist. And now take that right leg and step it back. And we'll do the same thing on side 2. So take your left leg forward now. Left leg forward, and left leg goes out wide to the left. So both hands will be inside the knee. So 2 options here, keep the knee and the ankle stacked up, or for a more gecko-ish variation, you walk the left foot forward. So as you drop the hips out or drop the hips forward, we've got a bigger angle here at the knee. So the first few breaths, we're just going to kind of hang out here. Softening the groin, softening the hips. And so maybe you've come down with forearms on blocks. If you did, bring your hands back to the floor. And then we'll take our twist. So an option, if you're keeping the forearm down, is to take that forearm to the block, again, to come off the wrist. Left hand is up on top of the knee, and we twist open then to your left. One more breath. And we'll untwist, removing any props out of the way. Take the left leg back. And bring yourself all the way down onto your belly now. So we'll let those legs stretch out long. Oh, it's going to feel so nice, right? Let the legs stretch out long. We'll take crocodile for a couple of breaths. Just stack the forearms or the hands. Let your forehead rest down. Just tuning into any sensations, anything that you might be feeling in the hips, maybe feeling some release and some letting go. Right. Please come up onto your forearms. So we'll take Sphinx pose next. So elbows right underneath your shoulders, a great way to check the proper distance here. Might be 2. Take, and as if you're crossing your hands, so take hand to opposite elbow. That's usually about the right distance to start with. So those elbows are underneath the shoulders and forearms are extending straight out in front of you. And take a moment, stretch each of the legs long. Stretch them back, finding some length in the chest, the front of the body. So for a moment, press the forearms firmly down, and without moving them, draw the elbows back toward your hips. So as the elbows move back, you can feel the chest, the heart move forward. Feeling that stretch, maybe across the top of the chest, maybe even along the abdominals. And then you can just a little bit release the pulling back, keep the chest open, maybe even dropping the chin to the chest now, getting some nice stretch in the back of the neck, the upper back. Softening in, breathing into any sensation. So if this is overly sensitive for your low back, then feel free to walk your elbows a little bit forward. So the elbows are out in front of the shoulders. That can bring a little more length into the low back. Let's stay here for about 3 or 4 more breaths. On your next inhale, walk those elbows forward, coming back down to your crocodile. Forearms or hands stack, let the forehead rest. I like to separate the legs a little bit more here and even add a little shimmy of the hips side to side, release tension in the low back. Let's lift the head, roll yourself over onto your right side. So prop yourself up onto your forearm. So elbow is right underneath the shoulder. Forearm is fully supported here. Knees are bent a little bit off to the side or forward. That'll give us a little extra support. Take your left hand, this will be your top one, and catch the left ankle. Right? Preferably the ankle, not necessarily the top of the foot. If you can, grab the ankle so we can flex the foot. And then if you lifted the thigh to catch the foot, right? Sometimes our thigh has to come up higher than the hip. Can you drop it down so the thigh is now about hip height? And then allow the left leg to drift back behind you. So getting a much deeper stretch now across the top of the thigh, right? Maybe still along the hip as well. Be mindful of the arching in the low back, right? Sometimes as we take that leg back behind, it causes the ribs in the front of the body to jut forward, which is increasing the arch in the low back, and it doesn't always feel so great. So we counter that by toning your abdominals. So tone the abdominals as you continue to take the left thigh back. Two more breaths here. Yeah, let's release the left leg, bringing it all the way down, and you'll roll yourself over. We'll take the other side. So I'm going to flip myself all the way over actually, so that I don't have my back to you. But now propping up on left elbow, left forearm, knees bent. So that gives us a little more support here. Picking up your right leg, catch the right ankle with the right hand. Lower that leg down so it's about hip height, and start to direct and guide the right thigh back behind you without dropping the ribs forward. So keep those abdominals toned. That will help protect your lumbar spine. We could even get a little opening in the front of the right shoulder here by dropping the right shoulder back as you take the right leg back. A few breaths more. And let's release that. Roll yourself over onto hands and knees. And as you come onto hands and knees, we'll take 5 rounds of cat and cow. So inhale, heel of the hands draw back as the heart moves forward. And on exhale, tuck the tailbone and round like a cat, push the floor away. And take 4 more on your own, tuning into maybe any differences that you feel in the body. After all of the hip opening we've done so far, usually opening the hip translates into more freedom in the spine and in the low back, because you know everything is connected, right? 2 more breaths here. And then returning to neutral spine, so the back's neither arched nor rounded. And go ahead and turn yourself around and take a seat on your right hip. Right hip, so left legs, or both legs, are zigzagged off to your left. And we'll take a stretch, a twist, a seated twist called a 90-90. All right, so first we sit, so we're facing the long edge of the mat with the legs kind of off to the left. Now we'll start making some adjustments. Adjust yourself so that your right shin, right, we're sitting on the right hip, the right shin is parallel to that long edge of your mat. Your right thigh is parallel to the short edge of your mat. So we've made a 90-degree bend here. Now we'll do the same thing on the left. Well, almost the same, but the opposite. The left thigh will be parallel to the long edge of the mat, and the left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. So we've got 2 90-degree bends here. Yeah. All right. Now take both hands to the outside of the right thigh. So we're turning this into a twist. So your left hip will swing around toward the front of your mat. So hands here on either side. So a lot of different choices in your body as to how deep this twist goes. You might stay right here fully supported on the hands, on the fingers. Maybe you even have blocks in there. You might walk your arms a little bit farther forward or even walk your hands back behind you for a deeper twist. So find something that works well for you. We'll stay here for probably about 5 breaths. Okay, so enough time for us to really settle into the twist. So I'm going to choose my blocks to bring the forearms down on. Three more deep breaths, please. Great. Hands to the floor if you've come down to forearms. Press up. Use the hands to bring yourself upright. And then we'll take the legs and just swing them over to the other side. So swinging both legs over, so they're kind of zigzagged off to the right. And then we'll start making those adjustments. So looking again for 90-degree bends, thereabouts, okay? So left shin now is parallel to the long edge. Right shin is parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then try to find somewhat of a 90-degree bend in the knees. And then we've got that same in the hips or thereabouts. As you take your hands to the outside of your left thigh, your right hip is rotating around toward the right. So what I really love about this stretch, not only is it a great twist, but we have one leg in internal rotation and one leg in external rotation. So it's one more juicy little twist, juicy little hip opener. Again, stay on the hands, maybe come down to forearms on blocks. One more deep breath, please. Inhale back up onto the hands if you came down. Use the strength of the arms to walk yourself to an upright position. And swing the legs around. We'll actually come all the way down onto your backs now. So as you lie back onto your backs, let's bring both knees into the chest. And then rock a little bit on the hips, side to side. Now, listen carefully. Keep the knees drawn in, but cross the legs so that your right thigh is on top of your left thigh. So crossing legs, sometimes we cross our legs in a chair like this, right? The lower part of the legs are just hanging down. So if you were to reach your left hand up, you can grab your left shin. Can you take, or excuse me, your left hand grabs your right shin, right? Because it's over on this side. Can you take your right hand and catch the left shin? So this might be as far as you go, just catching the shins. Maybe you can walk the hands down a bit and catch the ankles, or even flexing the feet and grabbing outer edges of the foot. So find something that works
for you, either catching the shins right below the knee, catching the ankle, or catching the outer edges of the feet. So we'll call this reclined shoelace. So borrowing a little posture from my yin practice, reclined shoelace. So if you look visually at your legs, it's like you've tied them like you would shoelaces. It's really great for outer hip and thigh. So we'll settle in here, take a few breaths. Because the right thigh is on top of the left, there's a pretty good chance that no matter what variation you have of hands on the shins, that you're feeling more sensation in the outer right hip and thigh area than the outer left hip and thigh. Now, that's not true for everyone. And we're using the hands on the shins as a little extra tension or torque. Imagine tightening the shoelace. And so if the hands are on the shins, it's as if we're tightening that shoelace a little bit. Thighs closer together. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Wherever your hands are gripping on the legs, release them, but keep your legs crossed. In fact, some of you might even take a double bind by wrapping your right toes behind your left calf. We'll keep the legs lifted and we'll take a twist from here. So release the arms out like a T or a cactus, and then lower both knees to your left. So the right leg, the right thigh is on top. Now, if the legs don't come all the way down to the ground and you've got a cushion or a block around, you can grab that and place it underneath the outer hip and thigh on the left side. Reaching your right arm out to the right or up alongside the ear. We moved from shoelace to twisted roots. I'll take a few more deep breaths here. Letting go. On an inhale, we'll roll back onto our back, uncross the legs, both knees into the chest, rock a little side to side, maybe tuning into any differences side to side on the legs, on the hips. And then keeping the knees drawn in, we cross the left thigh over the right. So shoelace first. So first, just crossing the thighs. Your right hand catches your left shin below the knee, and your left hand grabs the right shin. Okay, so start here, or again, move the hands down toward the ankles so you can kind of feel that tightening of the shoelace sensation, or catch outer edges of the feet. If you're catching the feet, make sure you keep the feet in a flexed position, all right? So we're not sickling the ankle. Let's take 3 more deep breaths, please. And then releasing any grip of the feet, of the ankles, of the shins, but keep the legs crossed. Again, maybe even taking that double wrap of the legs. It's not necessary, but if you can do it, you can do it for sure. right? Keeping the knees lifted, arms out like a T or a cactus, and then drop both knees over to the right. Again, pulling in any proper support you like underneath the left leg, or the legs over to the left, to the right. And then left arm, extend it out or up along the ear. Your mind is a garden. Thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. One more breath here. And on an inhale, we'll untwist, roll back onto your back, uncross the legs. And one final time, draw the knees into the chest and rock a little side to side. Good. As you're ready, release the feet to the floor and find your way to Shavasana. So legs extend, or you might keep the feet on the floor and just let the knees tent. Yogi's choice here. Letting the eyes soften and close. And as you rest in Shavasana, let's take a moment and tune in. Just a brief tuning in like we did at the beginning of practice. This time maybe being aware of any shift, any change. Maybe you're feeling a little lighter, a little more grounded, more open. And then as we take a few more moments, allowing the body to completely rest, resting the thoughts, staying softly, gently tuned into the breath. Take a deeper breath in now as you begin our return to our usual state of alertness, and then exhale completely. Once more, deep breath in, calling the energy back, and exhale. And then wiggling fingers and toes, or maybe taking that sweet feeling stretch. As you're ready to move more, knees can come into the chest, rock a bit side to side. Eventually, you make your way up to sit, sitting tall. And as you sit tall, please join the hands in Anjali Mudra, palm against palm. It's this gesture of gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for taking this time for you today. And thank you so much for sharing your practice this morning. Namaste.